Hi everybody, and welcome to my first live stream in what feels like forever. And I am broadcasting live from my office. Yay! So I've been talking about having my new office for quite a while now, and it's taken a while to get it built and to be in it and to have internet. So I'm hoping that you can hear me and see me so we can chat today, but I'll just give everybody a few moments to sit in. We're talking today about stepping back out into the world. So here in the UK, we have we've gone up a notch in terms of lockdown, lifting, restrictions, and all that kind of stuff. So we are now allowed. I don't even know what the rules are actually. Does anybody know? Thank you. Thanks, Martin. Thank you, Mr. Marmello on YouTube. Thank you, guys. It's looking great. You can't really see it. It's a bit barren. Good morning, Alicia. It is a bit barren in here. It's a little bit echoey and a little bit not full of stuff yet, but we're getting there. I have a rug, I have a chair, I have a table, I have some stuff, and I have you guys now. I now have internet, so that's good. So we're talking about can't even speak this morning, with the restrictions lifting a little bit more. In the UK, we are allowed apparently to hug, I think. And we are allowed to go inside and eat. We don't have to shiver outside anymore. I don't know what else we're allowed to do. I forgot. But whatever. The restrictions have lifted once more. And so with this brings a new level of anxiety for some people. And you, my friends, may be one of those people. I don't know. But I thought we should talk about this morning. And I'm just going to give everyone a second because I think there's a few people that are trying to... there we go. Okay, no worries. But I'm assuming you can hear me and see me okay. And just give me a little thumbs up if that is okay and you can. That would be amazing. So how are you guys feeling? Those of you that are on live, how are you feeling about just in general, how the world is right now? Alicia just said cinema, theatre, indoor entertainment. Perfect. I forgot about all that stuff as well. No dancing. We're not allowed to dance, are we not? Nobody will stop me dancing. Nobody will stop me white girl dancing. Have you seen that trend on TikTok, guys? If anyone's on TikTok, white girl dancing trend just makes me laugh a lot. I feel seen and attacked all in one sentence. Yeah, so this week, me and the girls are going to try and go to the cinema if we can. So tomorrow is, for those of you that have followed my story, my husband Ross died of brain cancer nearly 4 years ago. And it's his birthday tomorrow. So we always like to do something for his birthday. And normally we would have done it this last weekend. But because the restrictions have eased, we're going to aim to go to the cinema at some point this week and eat birthday cake. Because why not? There's no better reason to eat birthday cake than that. No better excuse to eat birthday cake, shall I say. So we're going out into the big bad world. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about how everybody's feeling about that. So let me just give you some tips about... the world is mad. The world is mad, Mr. Marmello on YouTube. Alicia says, also some countries are allowed to go on holiday. Okay. So it is going to be different wherever you are in the world. And Sharon's just asking on Facebook whether I'm at my new desk. I am at my new desk, my new wood desk, which came while I am currently running the You Got This Academy, which is my 6-week coaching program. And on our session last week, in the middle of the session, they decided to turn up with my new desk, and the guy was very loud and very lovely and did put the desk up for me, so that was very sweet. But we are now in my new office. So going out into the world. Let me give you some thoughts and ideas and things about this. First thing I want you to really recognize was something I was talking about yesterday on talk radio here in the UK, which is something that we might have all experienced. And I know I certainly have. And it's a term that there was an article in the New York Times where they were talking about something called languishing. Okay, so languishing being a state of being where you are not depressed. You're not necessarily super top end stressed, but you're not super happy. And you feel that you feel sort of this in-between feeling of, I guess, a bit of, and I'm going to enjoy saying this word, but a bit melancholy. Like you're not super sad, you're not really depressed, but you're a bit meh. Right. And a lot of people have felt this. Okay, so my battery's about to go off. Let's not have that happen. So a lot of people have felt this. Let me just rush around and do this. welcome to my world. This morning I was rushing around and had, where's my plug? Forgot where that plug is in here. That's good fun, isn't it? 1 second, guys, bear with me. We're back. We're all good. It's all fine. So yes, I was talking about the feeling of meh, the feeling of not feeling super sad, but not feeling actually excited about anything either. And I feel like a lot of people have really been in this state of just we at the beginning of lockdown, we were running on what we call surge capacity. So surge capacity is something I learned about this year, and surge capacity is that feeling of when something goes bad, when there's an emergency, when there's a crisis, we kick into gear. Some of us certainly do anyway. And we kick into gear, we get ready to, get to work, whatever we've got to do, we get to it. And our bodies are meant to run on that sort of surge capacity for a short period of time. That's our reserves for when it gets really tough. Good morning. I can't see who it is on Facebook. Good morning. We're supposed to run on that for a short period of time. When there's a crisis, when something going wrong, we use that, our reserves in our body, that adrenaline that gets us through, to gets us to work, gets us doing stuff, gets us, out supporting our NHS or, connecting with neighbors, making sure we're making banana breads and doing Zoom and quizzes and all of that stuff that we did at the beginning. However, over time, we cannot run at that. We cannot run at that level for any long period of time, because eventually those reserves become really depleted. And I think that's where we end up slipping into what many of us have felt at this point, or certainly over this time, we've felt this feeling of meh. And I can see that Alicia's saying that's how I feel, meh. And I think, and Sharon was also saying she's not even that excited to rush back out into the world. And I understand that. So that's part of what we need to start thinking about and start using our imaginations. Our brains are really powerful things, and our imagination is super powerful for us. We know this to be true because we know if we watch a horror film or we see something on telly, it makes us sad, we cry, or we get that fear when we're watching a horror film. So we know this to be true. Our brains are incredibly powerful, and our brain doesn't know the difference between the real or the imagined. So we can begin by energizing that excitement within ourselves by using our minds to imagine times in our lives when we have felt that level of excitement, where we have felt that level of happiness, where we have felt those moments of joy. And no matter where you are at in your life right now, even if your life has been super tough, there's been a moment that you can use, right? Or if, let's say, you want to argue and double down and say there's absolutely never been a moment in my life that's been joyful. Okay, I'm sorry that that's the case for you. Really, genuinely, I am. So then you have to use your imagination to imagine what it might be like to have that level of excitement. Maybe you use somebody else's experience. Maybe you use something you saw on a film that looked amazing. And you're going to close your eyes for a moment. And you can do this every day. 5 minutes is all it takes. 5 minutes of your day where you just close your eyes and you just imagine something that makes you feel joyous, something somewhere, some place, some people where you would feel your best self, where you would feel excited, where you would feel happy. And you begin to allow your brain to imagine. You can also use this to imagine going out to places. So if you feel a level of anxiety about going to a restaurant or a shop or the cinema or the theatre or the places that we are now beginning to open up in many countries, if you feel that level of anxiety, practice it in your head first. Imagine what will happen. Now, I would say in terms of confidence in life, this is always a good skill to have, okay? And Sham's just saying she's got to go. Puppy is poorly. Oh, no. Good morning, Mary, as well. And good morning, whoever said good morning on Facebook. I can't see who it is, but somebody said good morning, good morning. So using your imagination, I would always say that really, if you are feeling a level of anxiety or lacking confidence in any way, that really thinking ahead, imagining what the next steps will be. So let's say we use going to a restaurant today as an example. You would imagine, close your eyes for 5 minutes, imagine where you're going to go, imagine what will likely happen. You'll go in, you'll probably be asked to take a seat. Maybe you have to wear a mask when you go in. I think I assume that would be the case. You sit down, you take your mask off, maybe, you order your food, you imagine what that sounds like, imagine the waitress, the waiter coming over, you order your drinks, maybe you even know where it's going to be, so you know what you would order. You imagine that, you play that out in your mind. You imagine what you would need to take with you. You think about that. You think about the possibility of the conversations that might be had. For some of you, the social aspect of going back out into the world is the biggest thing. It's not that we're scared of getting the coronavirus. I don't think, if I'm being honest, for most people, that was the worry. Maybe right at the beginning, but I think actually it's as we've pulled back from society, it's actually that we've got really comfortable with not having to have those social interactions, with not having to have those awkward moments or those times where we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And actually it's that has become the bigger issue in us going back out into the world, not the fear of getting a deadly virus or anything like that. Although, of course, there will be some of you that do think like that. So it's imagining what you will do, imagining those scenarios, imagining times when you feel excited. Your brain is so powerful. And the great thing about this is that all of this imagination can be done from exactly where you are right now. You don't have to go and do something and be somewhere else. It's just right now using what you have, which is your own brain. And you can practice those conversations. If it's the social aspect that makes you feel nervous, you can practice those conversations out loud. This is not weird. My background is as an actress. For those of you that are coming from outside of YouTube, on YouTube and Twitter and places like that and don't know about me, my background is as an actress, and all actors practice, practice, practice. We act, we rehearse everything. We rehearse conversations socially as well as when we're doing acting. So if I'm going somewhere new and I feel any levels of anxiety, and I know for most of you that know me, you will think, I don't imagine that she ever feels that. But of course I do. If I'm in a situation where I'm stretched a little bit, where I'm out of my comfort zone, where it's not necessarily my group of the normal people I would be around, where I feel, maybe just out of my comfort zone in any way, of course I will practice what I'm going to say. I will consider what might the conversations be. I will consider what might be said, what I would say, and I will think about these, and these I will practice out loud often. If I'm in the car, I'm often chatting to myself. I use that time to just chat about through stuff. So if I'm going to be, so this afternoon I'm on the BBC. So I'm talking on the BBC this afternoon about boundaries. If you want to tune in, that'll be around 5:40 this evening on BBC Coven Warwick. And I'm chatting on about that. So I will practice that at some point today, likely in the car, or I'll do a fake phone call. Does anybody else do that? Just turn up, just have a fake phone call, and I will just practice what I'm going to say. But you can do that socially as well. It doesn't have to be that you're going to do a presentation. If you feel nervous on the school run when you know you're going to have a social conversation socially with somebody, then thank you, Alicia. So I'm on the BBC every Monday now, which is great. So we do every Monday. I'm doing a segment on Monday motivation segment where I'm talking about all things positive mindset, which is ace. So that's been good fun. But if you're socially anxious about things, practice what you might say when you see the mums or the dads on the school run. Practice little conversations that you could have, asking them how their day's been, asking them how their kid's getting on. Just have a little go and a little practice for this, because practice really does make perfect, and we don't have to get it right all of the time. It's just about stretching that. And as we go back out into the world, we are going to have to push ourselves. We cannot sit in this space of this cocoon of our homes forever. And we cannot avoid having to go back out into the world forever, even if you're still feeling quite cautious right now. Oh, lovely. Hello, Tech Claire. See you on YouTube. I'm so glad that you caught me live as well. That's amazing. So practicing conversations, re-energizing your excitement for life a little bit by using your imagination, imagining scenarios, imagining situations, practicing those out loud with your words. Know what your boundaries are. So I'm talking on the BBC this afternoon about boundaries, but knowing your boundaries is really, really important. If you are not ready yet to go and sit in a pub or a restaurant, and that's just too big a jump for you right now, then that's okay. We are not all the same, okay? So we get to choose. You get to choose. You get to say no, not yet. I don't want you to sit in that space of avoidance. Of course I don't. But you can do it at your own pace. Not everybody is diving into stuff. You know, we had Sharon on earlier who was saying that she didn't necessarily feel like rushing back out into restaurants and pubs, and that's okay. There's no judgment on that. And if somebody wants to pour judgment on you for making that decision, you have to already know what your boundaries are and be okay with that in yourself. It is okay if you do things differently. It is okay if you feel scared. It is okay if you feel anxious. Now, we don't want you to stay there. Of course we don't. So we do have to keep pushing. No toxic avoidance, no avoiding anything, just because it just moves it down the line. You'll have to deal with it at some point. So we don't want that. But we do get to make a decision when that happens and at our own pace, okay? Control what you can control. Control what can be controlled, but don't obsess over the things you can't. You can't control whether your government says you can do this, which, and the other. You can't control that. You can't control whether some people want to go out into the world and some people don't. You can't control whether some people want to get the vaccine, some people don't. You can't control whether some people think COVID is a hoax and some people don't. You can't control that. And there's absolutely no point doing that. And it's even not much point having big debates and conversations about all day, every day, because otherwise we just live in a really fractured place where everyone's at loggerheads and really not everyone just has to work it out for themselves. That's simply it. I'm just having a little look as well. Mr. Martel says batteries flatter than Twitter. My imagination is too far reaching. So as in your imagination makes you anxious because your imagination goes to the darker places. Is that what you mean? And Alyssa's just saying, maybe start with something like going for a coffee and feel how you feel. Absolutely. Start small, work your way up. See how you feel, what you feel comfortable with. So one of my clients over the last week, maybe 6 months ago, she would found it really uncomfortable. And this is in normal life as well, to go out to restaurants and things like that. Made her really nervous. Over the months that we've worked together, we've really worked on this stuff. And this week she went out with friends to the pub and she did all of the pre-work. So she knew where she was probably going to sit. She knew what the rules were in that particular bar, restaurant, how you ordered food. She knew where the toilets were. She knew where she would be able to park. She knew where she was going. So by the time that she got there, she'd already thought this through and imagined it in her head. And it wasn't as big a deal. Our imaginations are super powerful. Tekla says, I've been kind of wanting to hide away forever and not go back there. And this is it, right? This is what's happened for a lot of people, Tekla. A lot of us have pulled back. Well, all of us have had to pull back, haven't we? But actually, not everybody has found it easy just to get back into the world, because we've, for 16, 17, 18 months, we have been told it's a fearful place to be. We've told to get back in. And for those of you who already felt a little bit lacking in confidence or more introverted in your nature, it was kind of nice for a bit. But now it's hard to get back out. So we just have to start small and take it one step at a time. Just thinking to yourself, what can I do this week that is going to help me integrate into society a little bit more? Even if that is reigniting some of your friendships as well, because sometimes, and I know this is, I'm you, right? I'm the same. Like, it's so easy to get stuck indoors and to not really to keep in touch with friends enough, and to keep those friendships and family relationships and things alive. It's so easy because we just think, I can't even see them. And it's that feeling, that languishing feeling that I mentioned at the beginning. Lorraine's just saying, I found other people not understanding my boundaries difficult, especially with this hugging guidance being rolled out. Of course, and this is it, right? Not everybody wants to hug. I mean, I would like to hug. I'm desperate for a hug, but I also totally understand why that would not be okay for everybody. And let's be honest, Lorraine, in normal life before COVID, that wasn't okay for everybody then either. If you spoke to my sister and asked her for a hug, she'd be like, what in the hell are you on about? Don't even, and that's even me. She would be like, that absolutely, no, thank you. Not for me. Thank you very much. Everybody is different, and it is difficult because some people will want to. I can't wait to hug you, Alicia. I will give you such a squeeze. This is it. People have to learn to accept other people's boundaries. However, they probably won't. Some people will push those boundaries. So you have to know, so what do you do? And you just have to perhaps, Lorraine, think of a sentence that you can say that explains your reasons in a really clear, concise way without apologizing for yourself. You do not have to apologize for boundaries. You do not have to apologize for not feeling comfortable hugging everybody yet. or ever, okay? You don't have to apologize for your existence, but it would probably help you to literally write down and practice out loud what you will say when that conflict comes up, when somebody says, oh, come on, I want it. We're allowed to do that now. And you need to find a way to say, I'm not comfortable with that yet. I will be at some point, but not yet. For me right now, I'm just trying to warm myself back up into the world. And maybe people can help come up with some ideas for Lorraine, some things that she could say as well. Mr. Marmella says, I was extrovert and loved hugging, but you're always tired now. But this is all that feeling that we're talking about in the beginning. You're depleted. You were, out there and you were doing, you probably at the beginning trying to keep yourself motivated, and actually you're tired now, and that makes sense that you would be. You're really depleted. However, this won't be forever, just step by step, okay? Focus, and this always when it comes down to anxiety, when you're feeling levels of anxiety of the what's next and the I can't control stuff and the world is overwhelming and all of that story that we have in our head, focus on the present moment. You don't have to focus too far ahead. When we focus ahead of ourselves in the future, we can feel anxious because we can't control the future, right? We can only control right now, where we are right now. This is all that is actually real, which is weird, isn't it? What a weird headspace to be in. When we look back, we can get regretful and depressed and sad that we didn't do a certain thing, or we did do a certain thing and then we feel bad about it. So bring yourself into the present as much as possible. And you can do that by grounding yourself, placing your feet on the floor. If you're sat down right now, put your feet on the floor, or if you stood up actually, and just really be aware of the weight of your body and your feet placed on the floor. Feel what that feels like. Notice what that feels like. Notice how supported you are, how safe you are. The world isn't going to crumble underneath you. You're supported, you're safe. The chair that you're sat on, so you feel how that feels. If you're in the car, if you're in the chair, wherever you're sat, you can feel the weight of yourself being supported. And that's very grounding. I also want you to just think about looking around the place that you're in right now and just notice things that are in front of you right now. Notice what you can hear, probably my voice. Notice what you can smell, taste. Just notice things around you. Become aware of textures and smells and very, very present in this moment. Because this moment, you're okay. This moment, you're listening to me on here. This moment, you're safe. And that's it. And anything next is in the future. It's something that's out of your control at this very moment. So trying to, when you're feeling that level of zone out and overwhelm, just bring it back in. Almost like when you're on a tablet or an iPhone, you know that feeling. That's the zoom out. This is where we get to where we feel overwhelmed. I want you to just bring it back in. Zoom it back in a little bit so you can bring it into when you're feeling anxious. I don't need to be 10 steps ahead. I don't need to know what everybody else thinks or judges or whatever or considers, just this moment right now. I'm going to stop right there because I have to go and take my car in to be serviced. So very exciting, boring job to do. Tekla says, I'm unemployed and unemployment funds is scheduled only till August. So I need to find a job quick, and that's pretty daunting. So that's August. Okay, you have time. You absolutely have time to sort this. Just take a step today towards what that is. Don't try to overload yourself with the bigger picture. Bring it back in and go, what can you do today? What could I do? Is your CV up to date? Have you practiced what you might say in a job interview? And we could do a whole thing on job interviews. I've got quite a lot of experience with this. I used to talk and teach top level high executives on how to do job interview techniques. So maybe we could do this at some point. But yeah, think about what you can do, not what you can't control, because August is a way away. Things can change in a moment. You just have to decide, take some inspired action today, just something, one step today. Get that CV sorted, have a practice out loud of what you can say. Go and put your CV somewhere on a job thingy with Bob, what they called, a job site, that's the word I meant. A job site, or contact your local employment people and just see what's out there and what you would potentially be able to do, what you would like to do. And do something today. And you can let us know, Tekla, on social media. Let me know on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube under this post afterwards what you did today. And everybody within this space, hold Tekla accountable because we want to make sure that she's okay. But don't overwhelm yourself with the big picture. And that goes for everybody. Whatever you are doing today, take one little step towards stepping out into the world, towards doing something good for yourself. And I hope you have an amazing day, and I will speak to you all very soon. And hopefully I will be back on most Mondays. I'm nearly finished, which is so sad, my 6-week coaching program, the You Got This Academy. And I've been really incredibly quite busy. And because I've been practicing self-care, I've just pulled back a little bit on all of my free lives. However, I will be back. I'm not gone forever. And as you can see, creating my space, which will be my studio space as well. So there'll be more things happening on YouTube, which will be amazing. And I'm very excited because YouTube will be changing a little bit, not massively, but it will just be trying to pretty it up, you know, and making it a little bit different. And we will be heading into the Happy Me TV stage rather than just Holly Matthews Online, which it currently is. Thank you, Joy. Absolutely. Yeah, this is it. So Joy just said, put myself first for change. And I really do try to practice self-care. I get very hyper-focused on things and excited by things, but I did have to practice self-care, and I had to go, I'm just doing too much. So I had to slow down, but that is all good. And I love what I do. So I love being able to get on and chat to you guys and do this kind of stuff. And anything else I was going to tell you? I don't think so. I don't know. But make sure that you're following me on all the social media platforms. I'm heavily on Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook group, the Happy Me Project Facebook group. My podcast, which I'm going to be recording some more of this afternoon, the Happy Me Project podcast, is out into the world. If you are not subscribed and followed and commenting on that, you should. Because, which you should, because that'd be ace if you could. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe to this channel as well. And wherever you are, follow and chat and just be part of my community. Let's start this happiness revolution, okay? But like no BS happiness, like where we like actually feel sad sometimes, but then we aim towards the happy, and that's it. I just can say as well, the job search and interview video will be amazing. I've just stuck at depressed, was not able to start looking for a job for 6 months. Okay, let's do that then. Let's do something on interview technique and job search type stuff. Absolutely, I'm on it. In fact, I'm going to write it down because my ADHD brain will forget what it is. So job interview tech. What am I? Tech is not the word. Why is that coming to my head? Anyway, whatever. I've written it down because we're going to do it. Have an amazing day, guys, and I will speak to you all soon. Peace out.